Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Book review, Tales from the Underworld by content creator Offie Kingdom. Now, y'all know who this dude is. Y'all know this brother be giving some game. Now, he always sends me like copies of his books. Now, let me tell you the story about how me and Offie met. He actually hit me up for a consultation. I'll never forget it. 5 minutes into the consultation, I'm like, what does he need me for? This dude, you know what? When a man is good with women, a player, a man got multiple women, I can tell in a few minutes. Game recognizes game. And the people who follow Offie Kingdom know that he got game. He knows what's up and everything. But we were actually talking more about his creative activities, such as book writing, his art, and everything. Offie Kingdom is a very talented young man. I call him Nephew. Nephew is very talented. And, you know, and if anybody knows him, he knows that dude puts out books. His book creation is phenomenal. He is just putting out work. Now, he sent me a copy of Tales from the Underworld. Now, let me be clear. Out of all the books he's put out, this is the first one I'm reviewing on camera because I'm going to tell you what. Now, all of his stuff is good. But this one, oh man. Because you know what? I'm known for talking about the sexual underworld. I'm known for talking about it. But this is the first book I know of that actually gets into it. This is the first one. And you know what's interesting? This ain't some fiction or somebody coming from another perspective. This is his life. And I'm gonna tell you what, as a writer, it's very brave of a writer to open himself up and let you know, okay, this is what I've gone through. And he's someone from a young age spent time in the underworld or shadow world, whatever you want to call it. Since it's his book, I'm going to say Underworld. I mean, this thing is incredible. He's talking about his life, stuff that's happened. I'm going to tell you what, as I was reading it, I was like, yeah, I've seen some of those same things. Because I've talked about it before, just things I've gone through when I was younger and what I've seen when you're talking about, you know, that thing called game and how people really interacting. And see, the one thing about it that's very important, he's telling you the real deal. This ain't some fantasy like a lot of men might have of women and putting them on a pedestal and say, oh, they wouldn't do this, and then act shocked when they find out the other stuff. This was just normal for him. And he was just seeing the real side of women from a young age. And, you know, he talks about all of it. He talks about, you know, having women on the track. He talks about that. He talks about women having trains run on them. He talks about all of those things. Some other stuff that people don't really get into or haven't experienced. At best, they might have heard about it. And this is an eyewitness perspective. And I mean, this is very important. I mean, when you read this, I would say read it not even so much for, you know, he's talking about his own life, but just to get an overall perspective. That's the key. This isn't like some science experiment or some study or anything. This is someone's life right here. This is someone, he's gone through this. He saw it. He was an eyewitness. He participated. He saw the real side of women, the real side, you know, not some speculation like, or watching some videos or something like that. He was in the middle of it. And like I said, when I was reading through it, I was just like, okay, all right. See, I understand where he was coming from and everything, because like I said, I seen some of the same things. There's a lot of stuff I don't discuss publicly, a lot of stuff. I don't get into some of the grimier stuff. And, some people might say, oh, well, maybe you don't know. No, I just don't discuss it. Because one thing I found, a lot of times when you start talking about some of these things, many people, many men especially, they don't necessarily sit there and try to learn. They'll find a way to try to put you down or something just because they didn't experience it. But my thing is, when people are telling you stuff like this, learn from the experience. Because you can learn to avoid some things. You can learn to see some things in a different light. And what it is power. I mean, he's giving you some power right here. He's giving you some insight, some knowledge, things of that nature. And this is very key. I mean, man, it was forwarded by Brother Alpha Villains. And he has a chapter where he specifically talks about the sexual underworld. He talks about what's happening at the sex clubs and stuff like that. That's a real thing. See, I'm gonna tell you what. Let me just talk about that real quick. A lot of people don't realize that's happening. That's happening. You got clubs like that. You got parties like that. Especially in two places, like the hood and upper class places. You got sex parties. Like I remember when I was still living in Northeast DC or visiting my grandmother, there was a house that it was in Riggs, and it was like kind of sitting on its own land and everything. And most of the time it just maybe be one car there. But every now and then, I say maybe once a month, there'd be a whole bunch of cars there, like parked on the grass and everything. When you get a situation like that, that's a sex party. And indeed, now someone else told me about this. Rom still don't give away what he knows. So a friend told me about this, about being invited to a sex party. Just out of the blue, and the premise of it was the man could ask the woman for whatever, and she had to do it. No matter what, she had to do it. And these are professional women. And, according to the friend, the stuff that was happening there was vile. It was vile. The women were doing whatever. But that's part of the underworld. There's some other stuff in there, but that's a part. And Afi talks about that. He's seen it. He's seen hanging out with a male exotic dancer. Like when I talk about body game, I always talk about male exotic dancers. And, I say that's a perfect illustration of how women go crazy over bodies, right? Now, we all know about them being in the clubs, but a lot of times they do private parties with some women. It could be a bachelorette party, or it could just be a party they just pay. Like in the DC area, I'm telling on some stuff, but in the DC area, there was and it might still be there. Fatherhood kind of taking me away from some things. But in the DC area, you get a lot of professional, high money women who would rent out hotel rooms and get some of those guys. And it wouldn't be no bachelorette party or anything. And these guys be coming out with a couple $1,000s each. And, all the men had to do was just like take their clothes off or something. And the women be in there half naked, got their breasts exposed, and doing some stuff. I'll put it like that. Doing some stuff. Oh yeah, I got some stories about that. But that's when and the only reason they're there is because of the body. But Afi Kingdom, he goes over that too. He's been a part of that. So here's the thing. You need to get this book. If you really want to understand the shadow world, you really want to understand what's really going on. Not like this surface stuff a lot of people talk about, but what's really happening out there in the shadows. You need to get this. And plus you also get an idea about Afi himself. As I said, it's very brave for a writer to tell you about his life. Because let's be real, some people want to try to judge it, but this is a reality out here. Everybody isn't living like that, Huxtable life or, mommy, daddy, all that, and just middle class existence. There's a lot of stuff happening out, out of the corner of your eye, happening in the shadows. It's a normal part of it. Indeed, I would say it helps keep society straight. Reason why, because when someone dips into the shadow world, underworld, whatever you call it, they are able to express their true sexual nature. And I really think society would be even more jacked up if that wasn't allowed to happen. So anyway, get the book. A link for it is in the description box. I give it 10 stars. 10 stars. I do a 10 system and I give it 10 stars. Highly recommend it. If you really want to get an idea about the shadow world, underworld, whatever you want to call it, definitely get this book. And it also gives you a perspective on where Afi Kingdom is teaching from. He's teaching you stuff. He was right up close. So this isn't somebody who read some books and everything and decided they're going to try to tell men how to get women. Oh no, he's lived the experience. All right. So anyway, check it out. The link is in the description box. 10 stars. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.